Eddie. It seems like it's been a while now. There's been a lot going on in AJ's life since the last defeat to Alexander Usyk. How pleased are you he's back?
Really pleased. I mean, obviously he's away now in Texas, back for a couple of days. Been pretty quiet, really. You know, and I think just hearing about in his house over there that he's rented with just two of his team and Derek James, very different to the normal surroundings of being up at the EIS with 40 people and obviously, you know, ruling the roost up there. So he's in a good place. Very important moment in his career. A lot of pressure. You know, I think sometimes he likes to bounce that off. And when I said, do you feel the pressure? No pressure. But for me, there may be more pressure in this fight than any fight he's been in so far. I
believe so, because he's sort of at that stage of his career where another loss is really, really damaging, because he's been the top heavyweight for the last sort of 10 years. There's a lot of pressure on him. There has to be pressure on him, you know, going into this fight with Jermaine Franklin, who had no credentials, but has come away from the Dillian Whyte fight with a lot of credentials. And actually, it's a risky fight.
I think it's a really risky. I mean, you're going to get people that criticise any AJ opponent. I mean, you know, when we mentioned some names to fight Anthony Joshua, one of them was Zhilei Zhang, who we got laughed out of town about. They said he's 40-odd years old and et cetera, and now he's fighting Joe Joyce in what some are calling a tremendous fight. And it is a good fight. But you can't, you know, a lot of people say AJ's finished, he's mentally shot, but he'll beat Jermaine Franklin inside 5 rounds. The same people that thought Jermaine Franklin beat Dillian Whyte. I mean, it's like, so I think this is a dangerous fight. I think
these are the same people that are moaning about him not fighting Dillian Whyte now, as opposed to Jermaine Franklin.
Who thought that he beat Dillian Whyte. But anyway, you know, the key here is that when you fight Anthony Joshua, you up your game. Franklin already looks in better shape than he did going into the Dillian Whyte fight. He looks confident. You know, he's got the spring in his step. He's thinking, if I beat Anthony Joshua here, and you've got Dimitri Salitas trying to, you know, throw the mind games in about. He's very similar to Andy Ruiz. You know, he's small. He's got that style, catch and counter style. He's a good fighter with good credentials. He's out of Detroit. He's very well schooled. He's got a good chin. He's got a good engine. He's got a good defence. He can punch a little bit, and I think it's a really risky, dangerous fight. New trainer, 2 defeats back to back. You know, I'm nervous. I don't know.
Absolutely. You know? I mean, listen, a lot has been talked about with Anthony Joshua and his confidence and, you know, his mental state of mind and the psychological damage that has been done from Andy Ruiz, Alexander Usyk, etc., etc. We won't know that until actually he gets in the ring. So that's why it's sort of high risk, low reward, really, with this fight with Franklin.
Yeah, and I just feel that he was hard on himself for the last Usyk fight. I mean, you know, you would spoke highly of his performance. It was a good performance. And after 9 rounds, I thought he was going to win the fight. And he boxed pound for pound #1 and lost a good fight. But boxing's about levels. He needs to go in there and show his levels against Jermaine Franklin. You know, and I think he should do that. But also, you don't know. You don't know physically, mentally, where he's at. We can say he looks great. He's saying all the right things. But you're right, until he gets in there, you're not going to see it. Back to the O2, which 10 years ago, you know, AJ made his debut there, and without Anthony Joshua, all of us in boxing wouldn't be where we are today. Every fighter in boxing today should be thanking him for what he's done. But now it's about being selfish. You know, he's given so much of his time over the years. Now just lock yourself away and do the final job in your career, which is try and become a 3-time world heavyweight champion. And April 1st is a massive hurdle.
I mean, Anthony, you've heard me be vocal about this as well. You know, what the journey that Joshua's been on, where he come from, where he is now. You know, the people that he's inspired. 2012 Olympic gold medal that sort of changed the face of British boxing. If I'm totally honest, the gym's got full up from it. So he has made a massive impact, you know, on boxing and people's lives. And he doesn't get the respect that he really deserves, does he? And he's sort of at this stage of his career now that he's looking for a new trainer. He's searching for that missing piece of the jigsaw to take him back to the top. I suppose the question I'm asking, Eddie, is do you believe that with the right trainer, Derek James hopefully, that AJ can find that the rawness that once took him to that world heavyweight title?
I just think that he's an elite heavyweight. You know, I watch these top 15 guys and I see a massive gulf in quality between them and Anthony Joshua. And I believe, look, he lost to Alexander Usyk, who's a tremendous fighter. And I believe that on his day, he can beat any heavyweight in the world. Usyk's the tough one for him, style-wise. But any of those guys he can beat. There's massive fights out there against Fury, against Wilder, against White. So many big fights. But ultimately, we don't know. You know, we don't know. We see it in the gym. We see it in sparring. He's hungrier than ever. You're right in everything you said about what he's done for boxing, how he's inspired kids, generation, grassroots numbers. but it's a fight. It's a prize fight, and you can be a great man. You can have really inspired all those kids, but when you come to the O2 on April 1st, you've got to have a fight with another man that's got an opportunity to change his life. Yeah. And if you ain't hungry anymore, if you don't want it, you're going to fight someone that does. Yeah. So he's got to be ready for this fight, and I believe he wants it more than ever. I think, sometimes he says certain things and he tries not to put the pressure on himself, but there is huge pressure, and I know he wants it bad.
Sure. Yeah, no, I spoke to Jermaine Franklin earlier on, actually, and he was talking about opportunity. He got that one with Dillian Whyte, but this is the real opportunity because huge. AJ is the name in the heavyweight division. To beat him, and he said that his training's been great, and he's coming over it, and he's coming to show people what he can really do. So, yeah, he fancies it as well.
Yeah, and I think, he's got Dimitri Salita, he's got a good trainer as well, and the confidence from the Dillian Whyte fight, because let's be honest, before he boxed Dillian Whyte, everyone talked about his potential, his ability, his amateur pedigree, his unbeaten record, but he never boxed at that level. He proved he's good enough to fight at that level. Yeah. That confidence moving forward, although he's coming off a defeat, his confidence is like coming off a massive win.
Sure.
And everybody looks at AJ, he's got to land one shot, got to just put it on him, keep the pressure on him, make him gas, do all these things. But AJ said something that's very, very true. When you get in there with me, it's very different.
Sure.
And believe me, it is, because I've seen it, you've seen it up close. Mate, when he lets his hands go, he's frightening. And I believe under Derek James he'll do that, and I believe he'll take this guy out.
What's the roadmap, Eddie, for Anthony Joshua, the next 3 fights? They're talking about 3 fights this year, and I was looking for his record. He actually hasn't boxed for 3 fights in 1 year since he beat 2016 when he beat Charles Martin, won the world heavyweight title. He boxed 3 times that year, and then it's been like 2, 1, 2. What is the roadmap? Is it 3 fights this year? Will it be Dillian Whyte in the summer? Will it be Wilder, Fury, possibly Usyk again?
We'd love it to be 3 fights. I mean, it's always been 2. COVID meant that it was a year or 2 with 1 fight. But I want to keep him active. I want to keep him excited. And he's not going to want to be involved in small fights. He's going to want the biggest fights possible. And, whether that's a Dillian Whyte fight in a stadium or whether that's straight into Wilder or Fury, he's not going to want to waste any time. Yeah. A lot will be determined by the performance on April the 1st. If he goes in there, looks sensational and smokes this guy, he's going to want all those names ASAP. Yeah. And we can make it happen.
I mean, that is what we need to see from AJ in this fight, isn't it? I think he recognises that as well. You've got to go in there. It's not about winning here. It's about looking good. It's about looking like the old AJ, going in there and doing a number on Franklin.
It is, but also, you're up against a competent fighter.
Yeah, absolutely.
That can defend, that has a good tank, that has a good chin, that will look for his spots. I mean, that was the danger against Andy Ruiz, is he throws with you. Yeah. And that's what Franklin will do as well. He'll be looking to take his chances when AJ's unloading. That's dangerous. Yeah. But that's what won Andy Ruiz the fight.
AJ has always struggled with the smaller guys, isn't he? They're the ones that always give him problems.
In this fight, the style is not great for him. Yeah. But at the same time, he should be beating guys like this. And you can't call out Usyk and Fury and Wilder if you can't beat Franklin. Sure. And that's why, as good as Franklin is, he needs to go through him on April the 1st.
Sure. All right, Eddie, let's talk a little bit about DAZN. This is the first time that AJ is boxing on DAZN, UK rights, new system now with DAZN. Tell us a little bit about that and how it's changed.
Yeah, I mean, firstly, it's the first time Anthony Joshua has been off pay-per-view for, 6 or 7 years. Yeah. He's a pay-per-view fighter with every platform. DAZN have decided to do something a little bit different, which is basically reward the loyal customers with pretty much the same price point for their subscription. It's £8.30 if you're buying an annual pass at once, or $9.99 if you're subscribing for 12 months. Right. If you want to dip in and out, which we don't want you to, and the bulk of the DAZN subscribers don't, then it's going to cost you £19.99 a month, as opposed to the £24.95 for the one-off night. So, for example, if you bought the Anthony Joshua fight as a one-off, you would get Anthony Joshua against Jermaine Franklin. You would get Bam Rodriguez and our World Championship triple header. You would get our Sheffield show. You would get Joe Cordina against Rakimov, all for your $19.99. Yeah. But if you subscribe annually or commit to 12 months like you have been so far, is only a tiny pay increase. And all those big fights like Taylor Serrano, which will also be pay-per-view in Dublin, AJ against Franklin will be part of your monthly subscription. So, if you pop in for AJ, if you're a casual fan, or you pop in for a Misfits, then you're going to be paying that. But we've found that, the
I mean, your schedule is incredible until the end of May the 20th.
And also,
with
by the way,
Serrano.
you've got Canelo Ryder, which is likely to be announced as well as part of that schedule.
Will it be here?
No, it'll probably be in America.
Oh, it'll be in America.
Yeah,
okay.
But again, part of your subscription. So the schedule is unbelievable. Again, we've found that, and most people watching this who are fight fans have DAZN. They pay for it every month.
Sure.
So the option was to have AJ and Taylor Serrano and those big nights as part of pay-per-view, or include it in your subscription.
Sure.
So you know that the value you're getting is unprecedented if you continue to subscribe like you have been so far.
Sure.
If you want to dip in and out, you're going to pay a little bit more.
I think that was a confusion around it, wasn't it? Like, people couldn't understand what it was. Is it $9.99? Was it $19.99? What do you get for it?
Yeah.
Will pay-per-views come into play later on in the year?
I mean, look, if Deontay Wilder fights Anthony Joshua or Fury fights Joshua, it could be pay-per-view. But the plan is to make the fights that have been pay-per-view. You've paid £24.95 for Anthony Joshua for many, many years. He's now part of your monthly subscription. If you are subscribing on the annual pass, it's £8.30 a month. You get with that Anthony Joshua off pay-per-view against Franklin, Taylor Serrano off pay-per-view, Canelo against Ryder if that lands as well, which it looks likely to do, Joe Cordina, Callum Smith, Bam Rodriguez, plus all the Misfits cards that, you know, not everybody's cup of tea, plus all the Golden Boy cards, plus everything else. So the value is incredible, and my advice is keep subscribing monthly because the value is unbelievable.